Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Michael Buble is still finding his groove on his first season of The Voice. He's still trying to figure out the best way to coach all of the new talent on board. Moreover, he's learning how to translate his own gifts into something tangible for new singers. Buble even had to find that for himself when bursting into the music industry. The best way to do so? Through jazz. Recently, The Voice posted a video on YouTube highlighting different stories throughout Michael Buble's career. There, he emphasizes how vital jazz is to himself and to the arts in general. The greatest gift America has ever given to the arts, in my opinion, is jazz, he declares. The first thing that brought me toward jazz and swing was the musicality. Right away, I just loved the musicianship, the arrangements, the greatness that came with each chart. Then you add upon that these incredible singers who are technically gifted. However, Michael still needed to carve his own lane within such an expansive genre. There's an abundance of gifted singers within jazz. How can Buble separate himself from the pack? His intention wasn't to modernize the sound and take it away from its roots. Rather, he finds his powers in curbing from his favorite artists. Michael goes on to reveal his favorite artists of all time and admits that he spent a good chunk of his career impersonating them. I was as into the Beastie Boys and to Michael Jackson as I was into Dean Martin or Bobby Darin, and naturally I took some of the things that I loved about music and infused them with my love of American songbook or jazz. Thankfully, people accepted it and it worked, Buble explains. Michael Buble feels incredibly grateful to exist as someone carrying the legacy of jazz for artists today. Now he can spend time sharing his influences. He says, "I was trusted in holding on and carrying on one of the greatest things America has ever given to the arts, and it's funny, I know Lady Gaga and we're both friends and we both feel protective. I look over at her and it makes me so happy that it's in those hands. I know why Tony Bennett chose her, and I just love that we're lucky enough to be some of the chosen few that have been able to introduce it to a new generation of kids and keep it alive." Michael Buble, the charismatic crooner known for his velvety voice and timeless charm, recently made headlines when he joined The Voice as a coach. While his fans adore his smooth jazz renditions and charismatic stage presence, Buble's journey to finding his unique voice ironically involved a surprising twist, learning to embrace his true self by mastering the art of impersonation. Growing up in Burnaby, British Columbia, Michael Buble dreamed of being a performer long before he became an international star. He recalls countless nights spent singing along to records of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Elvis Presley, meticulously studying their phrasing, tone, and stage personas. "As a kid, I didn't just want to sing like them, I wanted to be them," Buble admitted with a chuckle during a candid interview. "I thought that the best way to be great was to imitate greatness." From his earliest performances at family gatherings to his gigs in smoky jazz clubs, Buble leaned heavily on his ability to channel his musical idols. Friends and fans marveled at his uncanny ability to evoke the swagger of Sinatra or the playful charm of Bobby Darin. "Impersonating these legends gave me confidence," he reflected. "It was like wearing a mask that let me step into a different version of myself, one that wasn't afraid to perform." As his career began to gain traction, Buble faced a pivotal moment of self-discovery. While audiences applauded his nostalgic performances, industry insiders began asking a crucial question: who was Michael Buble beyond the echoes of the past? "I was getting feedback that I sounded too much like other artists," he said. "People wanted to hear me sing, not my impression of someone else." It was a challenge that struck at the core of his artistic identity. Years of mimicry had shaped his skills but blurred his individuality. "I had to unlearn a lot of habits," Buble confessed. "I had to figure out what made my voice special, what made it mine." Buble credits a transformative experience with helping him break free from his reliance on impersonation. One night, I was singing Mac the Knife in front of a packed house, and halfway through the song, I stopped trying to sound like Bobby Darin, he recalled. I let go of the mimicry and sang it the way it felt right to me. The audience's reaction was electric. They could feel the difference. That performance marked a turning point. It was the first time I felt truly connected to a song as myself, Buble explained. It was terrifying, but it was also freeing. As he evolved as an artist, Buble learned to strike a balance between honoring his influences and embracing his individuality. Every artist is shaped by those who came before them, he acknowledged. There's nothing wrong with drawing inspiration from the greats. The key is to let their influence inform your style, not define it. In his role as a coach on The Voice, Buble brings this philosophy to his mentorship. He encourages contestants to explore their musical influences but always emphasizes the importance of authenticity. When you sing, it's not just about hitting the right notes, he tells his team. It's about telling your story in your voice. That's what connects with people. Interestingly, Buble doesn't regret his early years of mimicry. In fact, he views them as a crucial stage of his artistic development. Impersonating other artists taught me about tone, timing, and emotion, he explained. It was like studying the masters before finding my own brushstroke. He often shares this perspective with aspiring singers. There's value in learning from the greats, he tells them. Try on their style, experiment with their techniques, but always come back to yourself. Because in the end, your voice is what makes you unique. Another revelation in Buble's journey to authenticity was learning to embrace imperfection. When you're impersonating someone, you're trying to replicate perfection, he said. But real artistry isn't about perfection, it's about connection. It's about vulnerability and truth. This lesson became especially poignant during a live performance where his voice cracked on a high note. Instead of feeling embarrassed, Buble leaned into the moment. I laughed, the audience laughed, and it became this beautiful shared experience, he recalled. That's when I realized, people don't want perfect, they want real. As he continues his musical journey and his role on The Voice, Buble remains committed to authenticity, both in his own performances and in his mentorship. His message to aspiring artists is clear. Don't be afraid to start by imitating your heroes, just don't stop there. Use what you learn to discover your own voice and trust that your story is worth telling. Reflecting on his path, Buble offered a final thought. Finding yourself as an artist isn't about rejecting your influences, it's about letting them guide you to a place where you can stand on your own. For me, that journey started with impersonations, but it led me to something much more important, the courage to be myself.